That music is interesting, no?
Mhm.
Hmm?
Yeah, I'm like, I still hear music. It's
You,
it's interesting. I think it's very interesting. I think it's not as interesting as the other intro music, but interesting isn't always a good thing in the case of the other intro. So interesting is good in this case.
for now. For now.
For now. Welcome Jess to the membership. I'm screenshotting this so Themis can give you a membership dance, which he will owe you when he comes back. But welcome.
Philodendron, that's a type of plant, right? I have that plant. Shout out to Jess and welcome to the membership. Woot woot.
Yeah, I think it's based out of Saganda. Have you ever been?
No, but I know how to say that's funny in Zagandanese.
Uh,
Do you want me to
Saganda.
say it?
No, no, no. I mean, you can. Yeah, show me. That's Sagandanese.
Yeah, that's the only word that I know. I'm learning. It's a difficult language. It's right up there with like Hebrew and Russian and like Cantonese. It's difficult, but I'm trying. Hello to everybody. Everybody who's coming in late, early, on time. It's always love.
Um, how are you doing this week?
Hello, Kenny. Hello. Shout out to my boy Kenny, boy or girl. I'm
What
good.
as I get my icebreaker ready, what's new this week?
This week has been a good week. It has been one of the first weeks for me where it's been sunshine all week. So I could be outside, I could be bike riding, I could be, it's been a good week. The weather's been really good. Everything's been really good. I can't complain. How are you?
I am well. I'm going through heartbreak this week. My crush doesn't like me back, so uh
Listen, Petty, I told you that it won't ever work. I mean, I really appreciate, the romantic overture, and I told you this on the back end. But you're gonna grow up, and one day you might find someone like me.
oh yeah, I'll try
Yeah,
to hold
it's
my
okay.
tears back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not you. A woman I fancy who does not fancy me back, but it's fine.
Are you being dead? Like, I have to know if you're whether or not you're being dead serious, because I have to psychoanalyze this and really dissect this and get into it.
Um, one of my friends went into length about some stuff that I won't say here, but they were going like really, really deep into their intimate life. I was a little jelly, so it's fine. I'm gonna just drop it. We don't have to talk about it. My week was good other than that, but I wanted to present our icebreaker for the day.
Can you at least say hi to everybody coming in the building and hitting the like button and showing any interest at all? Can you like say hi and have some manners? Maybe that's why your course doesn't like you back. I mean, manners are, paramount. Shout out to Themis.
Shout out to Themis. Welcome. Have you seen the Destiny drama? Anything going on lately?
It's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah, I've seen. Unfortunately, I have been privy to it. Yes.
I haven't taken a side in the race war yet, but I'll that's something I'll be figuring out this week, I guess, as more develops.
I definitely know what side I'm on and what side I will always be on. More specifically, because unfortunately in the Black community, it's not just race, it's also gender. So
Hmm.
I know what side of the aisle, anatomically speaking, that I'm also on. So shout out to me. But I do have some interesting insights or opinions maybe on the matter with the whole race thing and Steven thing.
I'm assuming you picking Steven's side, but you're biased, so your opinion means nothing on this situation. Clearly, your bias is showing. And as FD would say, you're a victim of the system, so you don't know. You
And
just know
clearly you're picking FD side because you are chronically,
that.
you're a chronic victim and you're a
Hmm.
Black man. Um,
Yeah, can we start talking about how hard it is just being a Black man out here in these streets?
it's hard. It's hard. It's
um,
difficult. And even when a Black successful Black man comes out and tells you, you know, you have to bet on yourself. You
wait, who
have
me?
to.
Or Killer Mike, you're
Killer Mike,
talking.
yeah.
Okay.
You have to employ autonomy and agency and take control of your life in order to have control of the outcome of your life. Black men are still going to find a way to contort and twist and manipulate, and they're going to find a way to straw man it. But that doesn't change
So you're
the
wait, so you're
validity.
on Killer Mike's side. So you're like, who cares about the barriers in place? We need to just fight.
I don't think he was. I don't think. When did he say not to care, or that he doesn't care about the barriers?
He was
Was that part?
prescribing it. He was prescribing advice, but the critique that he got from FD is that he's not acknowledging that there are systems in place preventing us from doing some things.
How do you? So he's not acknowledging it because he's not explicitly saying it.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah. Well, he acknowledges it, but he's just like, I don't care. Fight. Get over it.
So you don't think so?
No one. He says no one's going to hand it to you, so you have to go out and get it yourself.
Is that objectively true?
Sure, but the critique I think was still fair.
I think that the critique is just it. I mean, I think critiques are fair, but I also think you have to probably look at the source, and the source in this matter is FD, and FD we know, it's the Olympics. It's we have to, even among ourselves, Black people we gotta run to the finish line and see who's being oppressed the most. And
so
I don't play that game.
So you think we can't take the message because of who it's from? It being from
No, I think that you can take the message without imposing. I think you can take the message without superimposing an alternate meaning to it. And I think that the message can still be true regardless of whether or not something is explicitly said or not said. I think as a Black man, implicitly, I think that he understands that there are barriers. And I think the fact that he didn't say it doesn't mean that he doesn't acknowledge it. I think that it's remedial to, I don't know, listen, the one thing about Black men will find something to critique around them. They can find a critique out of anything, out of a light bulb.
Wait, so Paul, before you go there,
they cannot find critique within themselves.
To go back to what you just said, you said, "Oh, you should just implicitly know that what he's saying is that there are systems in place, and he's not saying those systems don't exist, and you should read between the lines and know that he's But
no, I'm saying no, that's not what I said. I said because he didn't say that does not mean he doesn't know that.
I mean, I said you can say pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and we're going to take that a certain way, even though in my mind, you didn't say anything inherently wrong by saying pull yourself up by the bootstrap. But maybe you should ask.
I don't think that's what he said. I think that that's a bastard. That characterization of what was actually said, I think,
they're the same
minimizes picture. No, it's not the same. I don't think it's the same thing at all. It's the same. It's not the same thing. No, it's pull yourself up by the bootstraps is pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Encouraging people who have been disenfranchised, who have been historically oppressed, and who understand that there are systemic barriers. So I think that telling them no. I think that encouraging them to employ autonomy and the will to succeed without looking externally.
How is that different from bootstraps? How is that different from pull yourself up by the bootstraps? Nobody's going to give it to you, so pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
I think that pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I think that it's a cliche that is rooted in racism in some way, like historically speaking. Could be wrong.
But is the system's not going to hand it to you? So pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Is that a wrong statement by itself? Is that wrong? Is it objectively wrong?
Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I think that it's deductive. I think it's deductive, and I don't think that it's contextually. I don't think that it's contextually.
It sounds like you're assigning like a view that's not in the statement. It
sounds like FD is assigning and ascribing.
Yes, but you disagreed with that. So why are you? You disagreed with what FD did as far as inserting his own bias into a message that had none of that in there. That's something FD interpreted. Now you're interpreting what I'm saying regarding the system's not going to hand us anything, so we should pull ourselves up by the bootstraps.
Right, because pull yourself up in a vacuum, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, really in a vacuum means nothing. What Killer Mike did was he contextualized things. He gave insight, he gave meaning to a desired outcome that he's looking to achieve. It's one thing to say, hey, pull yourself up, without any context. it could have a whole bunch of meaning, or it could have absolutely no meaning, depending on who says it and who they say it to. I think that giving advice or encouraging people to engage in agency and autonomy, I don't think it's the same thing as, hey, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I could tell somebody to, like, I just, it's not the same thing.
Your issue is that pull yourself up by the bootstraps is not specific enough. But if I said no one's gonna help you with your kids, so use the pull out method, this is okay.
What? I'm sorry, no one's gonna help you with your kids, so pull out?
Use the pull out, yes. This was part of his well, that wasn't part of his message, verbatim.
Yeah, you see, like, you're trying,
that wasn't
really,
you're
verbatim. Trying, really, you're trying, this is what people do.
Not having children out of wedlock. That was of course, what I just did was hyperbolic. But
he said to wait. He said, right. So, but why do you need to make something hyperbolic to fit a narrative that is not there?
Oh, I don't have to. I can say that about exactly what he said.
You have to create hyperbole in order to draw parallels.
I can say that about Killer Mike's statement, which I did, which FD also did. Say.
Right, and you're saying it, and I don't think that it's justified. That's I don't think that it's true. I don't think it's right. I think that Black men will find anything to critique about anything and anyone but themselves, and that's why they have a problem with Killer Mike saying, "Get it done yourself."
So again, your issue with FD's statement is that you feel like Killer Mike was specific enough for it not to be a pull yourself up by the bootstraps statement.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. I don't think so. We will agree to disagree.
Let's agree to disagree. Let's keep it moving. Do you still love me?
I don't love anybody but my job because they pay me. Wow. And especially not my friend who I had a crush on, but don't crush on me back. I don't love her.
Okay, I was about to say that though we agree to disagree, I was about to say that I love you, but you know what? Forget it. I don't love you. Never mind. Let's move on.
Okay, the icebreaker. This was something I saw in my news feed. If people still use Facebook, don't judge me. Here's someone named Junior. He says, I make over 3 times what my girl makes, and she pays 0 bills. In the 10 months we've dated, she's paid off her student loans, beefed up her emergency funds, and improved her credit score, and love that for her. He says in quotes, what if she leaves you? Well, the door is wide open. I was raised to always leave places, jobs, and people in better shape than when I first met them. So if she did leave, I'll be perfectly fine. I add value to others because it's who I am, not because I want or expect something in return. What say you to this?
I think that if he sees value in his, sort of altruistic mindset, and I think that if listen, I live and let live. If he likes it, I love it. And I think that that's, I don't think that more people, I think that if everybody was like that, we would kind of be messed up. But if he's in a position, it sounds like he's in the position to help. It sounds like he's in a position, to sort of to pick and choose what his priorities are in terms of putting himself first or someone else. If he likes it, I absolutely love it. I'm there for it. In fact, I wish that I had his number and I would call him.
So what do you say about the idea of, he says, I add values to others because it's who I am, not because I want or expect something in return, which is of course a contrast to what I think is the more transactional type of relationship that we've seen in the red pill or manosphere or kind of online space when it comes to dating. Is that something that you abide by as far as I'm just giving to this person? I don't necessarily expect something in return when I give to them.
I don't think that there's such thing as a relationship. I don't think that there's such thing as a relationship that is not transactional. Not functionally anyways. He might say that he's getting nothing out of it, but there's value in feeling good about yourself when you're helping others. So even if he says, I'm not getting anything materially, I'm not getting anything maybe functionally, I think on an emotional and psychological level, he is benefiting in some way. If I feel good when I help people, I still benefit from helping people, right? So I don't think that there's a relationship that exists that is transaction free. I think that all relationships ebb and flow. I think it's all give and take. I think it's compromise. And I just don't, I think that, I don't think that it exists. I don't think it's possible.
Do you think something like reciprocity or being reciprocal Do you
Right.
think that is transactional?
I mean, by definition, reciprocity, yeah, it is.
So
It's a, I give something and I get something. I do something for you and you reciprocate and you do something for me. I think, yeah.
so you said you think relationships are transactional by nature. Do you think that's good, bad, neutral?
I think it's good. I don't think that relationships could work otherwise. I mean, we don't exist or live on an island. People need other people, and we need other people because we need what some people can do for us, and they need us because we can do things for them. I think that we live on a planet with billions of people, not by accident. I think that it's a biological imperative to need people, to be with people. Our brains are neurologically wired for that, and transactional relationships is just a small part of the human experience.
So when he says, the gentleman in the tweet or the post says, I add values to other because it's who I am, not because I want or expect something in return. Um, how do you, I guess, how do you maintain a relationship in which you're comfortable giving all of yourself while expecting nothing?
Again, I think that I think maybe he might, I don't know if he's in denial. It could be a lot of the gratification that we get from people, or that we get from helping people or from being altruistic. Um, Sometimes it's a subconscious feeling, so it's not a feeling that we're conscious of, like, oh, I know that I feel much better when I help because I help this person. And everyone's different, I think. But I think for him, he might not acknowledge or recognize that he is getting something out of the exchange, and he might not know it, so he might not be able to extrapolate or articulate it. Um, but in general, I don't think that most relationships would work if that was fundamentally how they were um, set up. I don't think that that would work. I don't think that he realizes that maybe he's getting something out of it, or maybe he's really getting nothing out of it. But if he's happy and he's okay, hello to you. But if he's happy and he's okay, I'm happy and I'm okay. That's kind of how I look at life and relationships. Unless you're in the relationship and you understand sort of the, the intimate details and the intricacies of a dynamic, I tend to be like, I'll stay over here because I don't know, right? What do you think?
I mean, I spoke with my therapist last, it's been more than a year now since we had this conversation, but I spoke with her about juggling between being a nice guy and a good person, where I believe a nice guy is a guy who does something nice, generally to women, because he feels that he will get something in return, whereas a good person is just being good because they are good and they want to do good things. And I wanted to be sure that I was trying to measure the transaction versus the genuineness, because I don't know, it just feels like tit for tat, if that makes sense. Like, oh, I put something into this relationship and you didn't, so I'm leaving. That feels like I'm asking for tit for tat, but also I can't be in a relationship where I'm giving and not receiving something in return. So, I mean,
I
the
think that I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. And I do think that there are scenarios in which um, something is transactional but clinical, or it's transactional but sort of devoid um, of any real meaning or connection or emotion. Um, and those types of transactions, I think, are a little bit like, I think that it's a more slippery slope. But I don't think that transactional relationships have to be a bad thing necessarily. Um, yeah, I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I think that you can engage in transactional dynamic or relationship, want to engage in it and still be happy in your relationship. And I think that it could also come from a good place, right? Like, we go to work and we do our jobs. Some people do their jobs and they love their jobs and they're also getting paid. And some people go to work, and the only transaction is that, they are in at 9 and they're out at 5. They hate their job, but they're there because they're getting a paycheck at the end of the day, right? And some people volunteer. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's that binary. I don't think it's black and white. But I understand your I guess, your conflict with trying to delineate between good person or good guy. I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I think you can do both literally at the same time. I actually think men should probably do both at the same time, like forever. I think they'd have a better time in life.
That sounds like a therapist answer, and I have more questions than I have answers, it feels like, because I need to know, where is it expectation, where it's like I'm being nice with the expectation that you're being nice back to me? Is that what makes it transactional? Should I just be nice, and then if I don't expect it back, now I'm being genuine? Or
I think we all get to a point where we realize we can really only control ourselves, our output, our actions. And I think that the older you get, some people are like this their entire lives, but I think the older you get, the more you realize that it's good to be good to people. We're socially driven creatures, and it's beneficial for us if we're socially oriented in that way. And part of being socially oriented and creating an environment where not only I can be happy, but others can be happy, and our society as a result can be productive, is being good to other people and treating people. I think that being nice, being good is the baseline. I think things get a little bit tricky when you add childhood trauma or abuse. Things kind of, we veer off of the path of a more, I think, beneficial and advantageous approach to life when things sort of pile on us that really our brains are not equipped to deal with, right? Like we're equipped to deal with each other and society and people, but our brains don't know how to really manage trauma in a way that is not maladaptive and destructive to ourselves and others. So I think, I think being a good person, I just think it's a baseline, and I don't look to get anything out of it when I have a good and positive exchange with other people. I'm interested in other people. I like to engage people when I see them and I meet them. And I'm not really thinking, if I don't get something out of this exchange, then it's a waste of my time. No, I don't think like that generally. It's weird to think like that.
Okay. I guess I'll internalize that and let it marinate as we move on to our main topic.
Let's move along.
Because I'm still confused. Are you familiar with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene?
No.
So all you need to know for the purposes of this conversation is that she is a Republican representative, I think in the 14th district of Georgia, and she has something that she wants us Black people to hear. So let's see what she wants us Black people to hear.
Oh God. Are you going to read that? Did you just put it on the screen?
Nope. The audience can read it themselves. My throat hurts.
Oh my God, I would have read it. Okay.
All right, let's see what she has to say. So she wanted us to know some things about the N word and how she feels about it, as well as how she feels about the WS word. And she also, it's a clip attached of an interaction that she had with Representative Jamal Bowman. So let's see what's going on here. Let me see if I can make this a big.
Jamal Bowman. Is that a Black Jew?
On video, everyone can see this, but I will tell you what's on video is Jamal Bowman shouting at the top of his lungs, cursing, calling me a horrible, calling me a white supremacist, which I take great offense to. That is like calling a person of color the N-word, which should never happen. Calling me a white supremacist is equal to that, and that is wrong. Jamal Bowman was down there cursing at me, telling me to get the F out of there. And he was leading the mob right outside the vehicle I was sitting in. We have the
expel him. We gotta save the party. The party's hanging by a thread.
We gotta get rid of Biden.
The party's hanging by a thread. We gotta save the party. Listen, no more QAnon, no more madness, no more nonsense. Come on now, save the party, save America, save the children,
save the
do
country.
something about guns.
Right, close
Come
the
on,
border.
invest in
Close the
education.
border. Save the
The
children.
border is
What
what
about the
Trump
children?
left.
Hey,
What are
where
you
are all the
talking
kids?
about?
Where are all the migrant
What
children?
kids?
You guys have
They're
lost
accepting
them.
them. We love
No,
them.
you've lost
We
them.
love the
There's
migrant
tens
children.
of
Why we
thousands
lost
missing.
them?
You can't find them.
What are you
That's
talking
your
about? What are you
administration.
talking about?
Yeah, migrant children missing. You don't know the news.
No, we don't know the news.
Oh, you were
That's Fox
sadly
News.
missing before.
That's
Hey,
Fox
let me
News.
tell you
Listen,
something,
I
Jamal.
need you to
Not
save
very
the party.
smart. You should pay attention. She ain't worth it, girl.
Save the party.
She ain't worth it, bro. She ain't worth it. All on video. Everyone can see this. But I will tell you what's on video is Jamal Bowman shouting at the top of his lungs, cursing, calling me a horrible, calling me a white supremacist, which I take great offense to. That is like calling a person of color the N-word, which should never happen.
Can we take some time to just grieve what this white woman has been through? I can't believe he attacked her like that. That is so crazy. What do you think?
The one issue that I had when I was at Ryerson, I would get into sometimes intellectual fisticuffs with other students, primarily white girls, because it was really difficult to engage in conversations about colonization, the indigenous plight, the plight amongst the diaspora, because there's a psychological tick in these types of white women in which maybe it's cognitive dissonance. I really don't know what it is, but they have, in order for them to engage, they have to create, they have to victimize themselves in some way. Like in order for them to engage, in their minds, like it has to be apples to apples. In order for them to be right, in order for them to, I guess, in their minds, be as important or maybe more important as historical truths and historical atrocities, they kind of have to lie to themselves and create.
Wait, are you insinuating this white woman is lying about what happened just because we have it on video?
No, I'm not. I'm asserting that it is not analogous or parallel for the white supremacists and the N-word. They're not parallel. The impact is, it doesn't even make sense for her to say it, and it only makes sense because she has the privilege of making up any goddamn bullshit that she wants to, and calling it a fact.
Wait, you don't think what happened in the video was what she said happened?
I don't care if it happened or it didn't happen. I'm talking about her comparison to the N-word and white supremacists. It's like it's so diminutive. It minimizes, like, and I think that that's part of the agenda too. I think part of the way that they want to try to like minimize some of the atrocities and the plight is by saying, hey, well, like it's the same thing as calling you a slave, or the N-word is the same thing as calling me a slave master. It's the same thing. Like it's not, and I don't want to engage. I can't engage with white women. I can't. I would rather lobotomize myself than even engage with them. And I had problems at school. I'm just because of that. White men were more or less in social work and CYC. White men just they, with the exception of like the one maybe neurodivergent, socially awkward little brainiac that was inquisitive and precocious, white guys for the most part keep their head down. It was easy work. They got their A's and they left. White women had to challenge everything. White women had to question everything. White girl, like,
I don't know. Now they're in the comments saying slurs like Karens. Y'all don't think Karen and white supremacists are slurs?
Slurs?
Yeah, like she said they're equal to the N-word.
Okay. They're equal. You know what? White supremacy.
How come she said the N-word? When she was saying the N-word, she said the N-word, but when she was saying the WS word, she said white supremacy out loud.
Because she's she's on national television. Karen, like she might be wrong, but she's not necessarily like stupid.
Yeah, but wouldn't you just say the WS word instead of white supremacy out loud if it's like equal to the N word?
I think that that was her insidious way of imposing more, ascribing more meaning and impact to the word white supremacy. I think maybe she wanted to manufacture shock value, or I think she just wanted to get attention for like around the word, and she wanted to minimize the N word, and that's probably why she didn't say it. But it's like, I'm saying white supremacy because it's it's worse, it's more important, it's a problem, it's just like the N word. No, it's not, boo. Like, listen, I can't. I'm gonna get upset. I don't want to get upset.
Well, this is a person who has seemingly a lot of political power in Georgia, so that's
shout out to Canada. I don't have to deal with Karen like that. Our prime minister, we have our problems, and shout out to Rob Ford. He smoked crack and all that. Rest in peace. He's in crack heaven. But at the end of the day, that's Georgia's problem. Okay.
Who was Canada's first Black president? Oh,
we don't have presidents. Sorry.
First Black. What do y'all have? Prime minister.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. United States is up. I don't know.
You said United States is up?
Yeah.
In what? Crime rate? Bad health
care? The amount of Black presidents.
Gun violence?
The amount of Black presidents. The amount of presidents generally.
First of all, Barack is biracial. So shout out to biracial people.
You don't think biracial people are Black?
And not as Black as a fully Black person.
Are you policing people's Blackness? Didn't you disagree with FD Signifier earlier?
Was he talking about specifically biracial versus being Black earlier?
He said if you watch Destiny, you ain't Black, essentially, in so few words.
Right, but he's not Black either because he watches it and he likes it.
Oops. Gia Homit, thank you for the super chat. Miss Green has moonshine skin. I don't know what that means, but
she comes from a long line. A long line of moonshine.
Are you Are you Black?
I believe I am, yeah.
Okay, well, I won't dig there. Let's move on to the next.
Wait a minute. What do you mean I'm not gonna dig? You can dig.
If someone asks me if I'm Black, I'm probably gonna say yes or no.
I know, but we know what community we're in. We know the context that might need to be provided. And we know really people want to know. So if I were you, I'd probably dig. So actually, no, I'm going to say this. I'm going to be done with this. Because the only time that my race, and I know people are not going to believe this, but the only time my race has ever been brought into question is when I sort of integrated into the online space. So hello, Wake Up Makeup Slay. So the reason that I identify as Black exclusively, and I always have and I always will, it probably has to do with the way that I was socialized and with the way that I understood identity. So my dad is Black, he's Trinidadian, like black, like, I mean, a little darker than you. And my mom is biracial. And I remember growing up, all of us, because you're growing up, you're trying to figure out what your identity is. And even as a family, there's 6 of us. We have a collective identity, and then we have our individual identities. All of my siblings look like Petty. No offense, they're more handsome than Petty. But in terms of phenotype and skin color. So growing up, I always remember saying to my mom, oh yeah, Mom, you're Black. You're like us. And my mom was, she was always very explicit, very specific and rigid in her understanding of her identity. And she would always say to us, no, I'm biracial. And I would say, yeah, but you're like us, right? Like, because you're the mom. We come from you.
When you have one Black parent and one biracial parent, people consider you Black or biracial? Just generally, not you specifically.
I think generally Black.
What about technically?
I think anything over 75%, you're Black. And the only reason I think that is because most people who have been affected by slavery or who have been displaced throughout the diaspora, I think that most of them, if they were to do any type of testing, or they're going to see that they have some white in them. I can't quantify it. I think it's like probably anywhere between like 15 and 25%. I think I've read a study to that effect. But part of the reason that it was difficult for me to identify with a biracial identity is because I understood that my mom being biracial and not having one white parent, one black parent, she made that delineation, and she was very intentional and very rigid about it. For her, it was important to have that identity. My mom is she grew up in the foster care system, so I think the only connection she had to her parents, because she never met them, I think part of that was her racial identity. It was important to her that she understood and other people understood she's black and she's white. So growing up, I couldn't say, oh, I'm black and I'm white, because my siblings, we're black. Our dad's black. It didn't make sense to me. So that's where I am. That's where I've always been with it.
Do you think, wait, let me find that super chat again. Thank you, Wake Up Makeup Slay. She said, hi, Anna and Petty.
I love Wake Up. She's so pretty.
Yes, slaying. Do you identify or were you identified? This is a question, it looks like, from Oprah. Thank you, Themis. Yeah, do you identify as it, or were you identified by society as black?
I chose my identity. I chose, and I understand that. I think in part, a lot of our identity comes from our parents. It comes from the way that we're raised. It comes from the way that we're socialized. It comes from culture. So a lot of it does come from our parents. That's part of our identity. But I think our identity is, I think that our identity is much more complex and a little bit more nuanced than that. So
Well,
I choose my identity, but I think that I also, yeah, I definitely think I chose.
So Fox, I believe, has the identifier here. Do you wash your chicken in your legs, Anna?
You know, this is a good qualifier. And the answer is yes.
Well, I would consider that black. Do you think it's more, I guess people are probably going to look at who's racialized as black and who's racialized as biracial instead of like actual. So that seems more important, but we can get back to these topics since we're done with the 23andMe. We can get back to these topics because
I think it's an interesting conversation, and I think that how identity is ascribed to individuals versus how individuals identify themselves. I think that's an important conversation to have. Really and truly, I do, and that's why I can sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I can empathize with people who are biracial, who are having an identity crisis, who are racially conflicted. But because I never saw that in my mom, it cultivated a very healthy sense of self in me, and it also cultivated a very healthy sense of identity and a very strong and astute sense of identity in myself, along with my siblings. My siblings, I mean,
in the way that you say I chose black, do you feel like you would be able to choose white?
Why would I be able to choose white? Why would I want to?
Oh, I'm just like, do you think you could?
No, I don't. I mean, what's that? I think that I could. I think if tomorrow I woke up because I like hit my head or something, and I'm like, listen, I'm a white woman and my name is Karen. Yeah, then that would be that.
Okay, so you agree with the transracial community?
I agree. I don't agree with it. I think it's diluted. And then that's why I said if I hit my head, because the only way that a person could, the only reason a person could identify as transracially is if they had some type of trauma. So if I hit my head in the morning and I was like concussed but still conscious or functional or something like that, yeah, maybe I would wake up and I will say that I'm Karen. Hell, I might say that I was big burly, and nobody could tell me otherwise.
So if a biracial person claims black, which I do think most biracial people do, this would be considered normal, I assume. But if they claim white, that would be diluted.
I think that, again, because of my mom's because of her connection with her identity, I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, people are going to identify the way that they want to identify. It's going to come from their family, their culture, their parents. Yes, it is going to also come from societal norms and societal pressures. But ultimately, I think that biracial people are biracial, and it's hard for me to characterize them as anything else. Again, because my mom didn't cultivate that understanding in me at a very young age. For her, it was important to understand the balance in life, the balance in identity, and the balance in society, or so culture. I don't know. I think that identify how you want. If you want to wake up in the morning and say, I'm a chair, do your thing. I'm not going to get in your way. If you like it, I love it. But I think at the end of the day, people should identify the way, however they want to identify. And I can't stop them. I can't change them. But I think biracial people are biracial. And I think that there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing's wrong with being biracial. I think that people assume something's wrong with being biracial when people who are biracial don't identify as biracial. I think that that's a logical premise or a logical conclusion to make, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And I think that the sooner they realize that, maybe the more that they'll identify as such.
Themis needs to make a poll in the comments so we can get an actual tiebreaker on is biracial black? Can biracial people be identified as black? LB says at Candors, are the men's hungry? Do they need a meal? Why y'all keep asking women if they cook? I think they're fighting in the comments.
I cook poison. How do you like poison, Candor? You like poison?
Well, this sounds like a confession to me. 300 watchers. Let's get the video to 300 likes. Yes, this is a command. Since we're talking about black people, let's talk about black women. Apparently, Sauce Walka. I looked up Sauce Walka and couldn't find out who he is, so I'm going to assume he's.
Sorry, are you saying Sauce Walk? Because it sounds like a dance move. Am I like that old?
Sauce Walka. Apparently, he's allegedly. Let me see what type of celebrity he is.
Sauce Walker or Walka? Like Walka. Walka?
Oh, yeah, I Googled him. He's an aspiring rapper and songwriter. So Sauce Walka says his preference is to date white women over black women. And he says his relationships, attraction, and romance is based on making money, not making love. So let's see what he has to say. D-list. I think E-list is what they had him as. Yeah, let's see what Sauce Walka has to say.
He sounds like a pleasure to date.
Yeah, like I can't believe we're missing out such a good guy. You're lost, black women. Let's see what he has to say. Oh, let me unmute it. It has no sound. Oh, well, it says the video has no sound, but it does. So let me figure out what's wrong with it.
You know that I thought that Sauce Walker, and I'm not gonna dignify his name with. I know I just said identify how you want, but I'm not gonna say Walka. I think ER is not. Listen, I thought that he was a white man. I thought we were about to get into. I thought that this was a white guy you were talking about. This is a black guy?
Yeah, it's a black rapper.
LB, tell him I cook.
I haven't, interestingly enough, I actually, oh wait, Candor or the guy in the video?
No, I'm talking to LB. LB, tell him I cook. I don't like to leave the chicken on for that long, so sometimes I like. Listen, if you want salmonella, just knock on my door. I like to cook poison. I like to undercook meat for bandits like you. Yeah, I'm a great cook. Great.
Okay, I think I've fixed the audio issue. Let's see.
You don't not date black women. It's just that your preference is white women. Is that accurate? What's up?
Again, I look at life it's business. I don't date. It's not because when you.
Do
I don't
you date black women?
I don't date black women because they black. It's not. You can't answer
Bro,
because of that.
Do you
It's
date
yes.
black women?
I date all women. White women understand business relationships easier than black people do. White women understand teamwork easier than certain black women do, especially if it's another woman involved. If they're not the only woman involved, then they're not gonna understand. I'm not a person that's only gonna be with one woman.
Oh my God.
The women in my life. They have to understand that there's multiple women in my life.
Okay. Sauce Walker says he treats his relationships like a business, and black women don't understand that, and they also don't understand that his lifestyle involves having multiple women. So as a black woman, Anna, what say you now that your community has lost Sauce Walker to white women? Are you jealous? How do you feel right now at losing this man, this trophy?
I didn't take enough Advil for this. Like my head is throbbing. I didn't take enough Advil for this. I tell myself I want to do good on the stream. I tell myself that I don't want to, I don't want to get tight. I don't want to troll. I don't want to get to 11. But then bandits just present more banditry that I have to then dissect and analyze. And I just didn't take enough Advil for that. I just didn't know that I would be doing that when I woke up. So here's the problem. Outside of the fact that I personally don't care, like I on a personal level, like I do not care where you stick your STD. Like I don't care, right? Like that STD riddled eggplant. Do with it what you must. I don't care. I just think that. I think it's interesting when Black men complain about Black women being gold diggers and being hypergamous, when historically that is not true. Materially, objectively, it's not true. I think that this is it's another example of white women being awarded the privilege of being gold diggers. Not just being gold diggers, because listen, I'm not saying this pejoratively. I don't have a problem with a gold digger. Just make sure that when you dig, you find gold. That's my only, dig. Make sure you get to the gold though. I just think it's such a problem that it's okay for white women in the Black community. It's for Black men specifically. It's a problem that they see white women who are engaging with them specifically because of their social notoriety, their economic background, or whatever money they have, their raps, whatever it is. But when Black women engage in that or aspire to be with someone upwardly mobile, they get poo-pooed on. Like they get dragged straight to hell with the bandit. I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so tired of it. So there's no anecdote. The bandits, they don't stop. There's no anecdote.
So I'm not necessarily against him leaving the community. I think you should go where you feel loved.
He'll never feel loved. That's a narcissist. They will not. They're incapable. But go on. Sorry.
For someone of any gender or race or whatever have you, I think you should go where you feel loved. And he feels like white women are more understanding of him wanting to have multiple women. So cool. That sounds like something that's actually really great to take to the white community. Now, that sounds like an anecdote, because my understanding is that when Themis was presenting the book and the research from Ralph Richard Banks, for example, the data seem to suggest that it's usually Black women who are dating down when it comes to socioeconomic status. And it's usually Black women who are, due to a lack of available bachelors, at least on equal footing in the Black community, they're generally going to be dating concurrently, as in a man who's having multiple women at the same time. So even his assessment, I feel like, is false, because everything that he just mentioned is are things that Black women do, and I think are things that Black women do more than white women do generally, as far as dating down and accepting something like that. Not that I think they should, but I think that they do. Chanel said, "Trust ain't nobody getting no money out this irrelevant bandit." Well, he's a
Thank you,
let
Chanel.
me see what was his celebrity status real quick.
This is, it doesn't even matter, because this is the thing.
We look up next.
The one thing that I know, fish are gonna swim, birds are gonna fly, bandits will open their mouth and they're gonna lie. That is the one thing that I have come to realize with great mental acuity. Everything that they say is either mischaracterized, misunderstood, an outright lie. They're talking about things from a place of ignorance. If a bandit opens their mouth, Petty, they're going to lie. And sometimes, and the one thing I will say, and maybe this is a nice thing for me to say, is maybe they're not intentionally trying to lie. They're just that stupid, right? Like they just don't know enough about a particular
we can't call him stupid, because he had more to say. Before you call him stupid, I want you to I'll read these tweets. He wanted to clarify something. I like women who can accept. He didn't spell accept right. I think he meant ACCEPT, but it's fine.
Ooh, a bandit that can't
respect
spell.
the truth that I'm not monogamous, and I'm honest with them about it from the beginning, giving them the choice to agree with my lifestyle or not, rather than me hiding and lying to her about other women like a high school student. He follows up by saying, so women can choose to not be attracted to broke men with no ambition or stability, etc., but I can't choose to be attracted to women who understand incorporation beats independence and teamwork makes the dream work. On all levels of life, not just business, unity always wins. He then finishes by saying, my preference is not about Black, brown, or white women, even though I feel like he specifically said that his preference was about
only white, yeah.
But he says it's about blue Benjamins. I love women of all races, but the purpose is blue faces. I don't have the rest of the. Oh, here it is. Here's the final thing he said. Black, yellow, or purple. If she's sexy, clean, and good vibe, she can get slayed and slutted for the night. Hell, maybe the week. But can we build a long life empire together without jealousy, confusion, and unnecessary drama or distractions? That's a whole different conversation. So this seems like a slight, and it seems like he's saying he will sleep with Black women. He just won't be in long-term relationship with them or marriage.
First of all, number one, bandit, you are accusing these Black women of being in high school. High school students can spell accept. You understand? High school students from grade 9 to grade 12, they know how to spell accept, you illiterate bandit. That's number one. Number two, this is a W for Black women. This is a W. He's not talking about building with Becky. He's not talking about establishing a strong foundation so that he can establish a strong family unit and dynamic and generational wealth in the future. He's talking about being a pimp. He's talking about being a pimp and being with women who accept him being a pimp. So shout out to Black women who are not dealing with the walking, talking STD eggplant, who doesn't know how to spell accept. It's listen, not only have Black women graduated out of high school successfully, not only are they getting their degrees and engaging with higher education at higher clips than an illiterate bandit like you, but by the mere fact that they're not dealing with you means that Black women are winning. That's a W. That is a W. Period.
Well, I'm not going to comment too much on that, because I'm left with the same question that I had at the beginning, which is, who is Sauce Walka and why should I care? But it does feel, actually, let me read this. Chanel says, statistically, polygamy is a fast track to permanent poverty. He simply doesn't like Black women, which I'm sure no Black woman is sad about. The Black women were in the comments like, anyway, what are y'all eating this weekend?
Black women, I love you. Keep just continue. I know it's hard because it's the one barrage, one bandit after another. It's one degenerate case of chlamydia after another. I'm not talking, I just mean, walking, talking STD panels. I know it's difficult to ignore them, and it's like, if Becky and Karen want to pick up our garbage, I think we buy them a drink. Not only do we get the W, but we extend some grace and say, listen, let me take you out for a drink, because I mean, the baggage that they're taking off of your shoulders, I mean, there's no dollar amount. There's no dollar amount for yourself, your dignity, your self-respect, your financial future and security. The idea that a bandit is going to forsake his a relationship with a Black woman for Becky, oh my God! Like, it makes me happy. It really makes me happy. So shout out to Black women.
What is a bandit? I don't know what that is actually, but I hear it a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, one second. I have my. Okay, I'll be right back.
What? All right, let me entertain while she goes away. Anyway, so I didn't want to comment too much on that, and I'm not necessarily mad at someone who's taking something like that out of the community. I actually think that's very good. I think that's very good for the community, that he's taking it out of the community. I think that's really nice. What I didn't like was kind of the ending where he says, I'll still sleep with Black women, I just won't wife them. Because even though I don't think he needs to be in the community, and he adds nothing to the community but degeneracy, and he should take it elsewhere. Well, I would prefer he not take it anywhere, but if he's going to take it elsewhere, take it somewhere that's not in the Black community. It reads as dehumanizing to me. It feels like he's saying to Black women, your value to me outside of a fleshlight is nothing. Only white women have value outside of their body, and that's kind of upsetting and demoralizing for me to hear, at least, and just kind of sad to see a F list. I don't know what type of celebrity he is, a G list celebrity who's again putting this rhetoric out and apparently gaining a lot of traction online. So yeah. I'm going to end by that. Are you back, Annalicia?
I'm back, but just one second.
How you take a break from your own podcast? I don't think you should be allowed to do that.
Oh, come on, give me a break.
No, didn't I just?
Okay, I got it. Can I say it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so my definition. Okay.
Were you looking up a definition?
No. This is something that I wrote. This is my intellectual property. Okay, not the word bandit. Shout out to Cynthia, but this
trademark.
The way that I have defined it. Okay. This is me. Okay.
Hit me with it.
A bandit is a male who is weak, degenerate, duplicitous, intellectually inferior,
Wait,
and
pause. What is this duplicitous? What's that word?
It means they're
duplicitous. Deceitful. Okay.
No. Did you say evil? No, nefarious.
It said deceitful. I googled duplicitous.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Duplicitous, intellectually inferior. So just check the box, because if I'm wrong, tell me when I'm wrong. When one of these adjectives do not apply, right? And governed by their lower primitive urges and impulses, most predominantly or colloquially associated with Black men, but in general, most men can be bandits because their male nature stipulates a biological imperative that invariably tethers them to their predatory predispositions. That's a bandit.
Summary.
That was a summary. There's more. Listen, there's more. This brain doesn't stop working. I have more, but I that was my.
Explain like I'm 5. Never mind. I'ma just assume it means a bad man.
Stupid too.
Okay, bad and stupid. We can apply this to Sauce Walka, I believe. I don't know if his intellectual whether he's an intellectual or not.
He can't spell.
Yeah, we did see his spelling.
You can extrapolate his IQ.
What does
I think.
extrapolate mean?
Enough. That's enough from you.
Yeah, I feel like y'all are weaponizing big words that I can't use, but it's fine.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's keep it moving.
Really quickly before we move on. Extrapolate, extend the application of a method or conclusion, especially one based on statistics, to an unknown situation by assuming that existing trends will continue or similar methods will be applicable. Now look.
Ergo, if you can't spell accept,
Why
you're
you saying
probably stupid.
why you saying ergo? Now I gotta Google ergo.
Oh my no! Listen, don't do this.
And I bet it's not spelled.
Don't do this. Don't do this to our beautiful community. We're gonna keep it moving, please.
Well, why the definition gave me more questions than answers?
Because you're focused on the wrong things. You should be focused on moving forward with the dialogue, and you'll be fine. You'll be okay.
Okay, well, let's move forward. That's all I had as far as current events. I did want to speak about something I saw. Something I saw on a website called Reddit.
Oh, no bandits.
Some people were asking for advice. And we don't give advice. But thank you. I was waiting. We don't.
Rose, I'm sorry, Rose. We love you, and we love you for coming to the channel. Thank you for being here.
Petty, you might need to read some books. See, and this is so reductive. When you tell a person who can't read that to be able to read, you simply need to read.
You've been reading super chats for the duration of the show. That's enough.
I can read Degeneracy. When it comes to
you don't need to know
definitions to know Degeneracy. I can look at what the Sauce Walker tweeted and know I can understand that it is Degeneracy.
Petty, can I send you some books? Can I Amazon? Can I ship some books? We get it overnight, sometimes same day. Can I send you some books? Because I will say the best way to enhance your vocabulary, I promise you, is to read books. I used to be I couldn't get enough of. I used to read constantly.
Okay, constantly. Yeah, send some books if they're free.
I swear to God that I'm going to.
If I'm on a janitor's salary, so I don't know.
No, I'm gonna need a Dropbox or I'm gonna need a PO box or something like that. But if I find out that you're not reading these books, I'm gonna be pissed.
So my takeaway from this before we move on to the next topic is if I can't read, all I need to do is read, and then I'll be able to read.
You can read, and because you can read, you should read more. That's what we're saying. We're gonna keep it moving now.
Okay. So these people wanted some advice. Let's give them some. Let's see what they have to ask us. I'm just going to read the whole thing because it's not as long as whatever you read on our last one.
Just summarize it.
When is your money is my money disrespectful versus standard relationship behavior? This is a man who's 28 and his partner is a 34-year-old woman.
Ooh, and she got a nice young boy. Go, girl.
Well, I don't know if 28 is young. I feel like
it's younger than 34, and in the bed, it's much younger. But yeah, go on.
Bedroom aside, he says, I'll have to give some context to this situation. We've been together for 4 years. Both have normal incomes. I'm a self-employed artist, and she works as a manager at a store. A few years into this relationship, she came into approximately 200,000 Australian dollars, through a court case. After putting 25,000 each into a home deposit and 7,000 each into a car, she has burnt through all of the savings and is now $9,000 in credit card debt. I want to make it clear that all of the remaining 200K got spent on frivolous things and just random spending. Fast forward to current day. If we go anywhere at all, I have to pay, be it food, alcohol, her gas, her registration, often sending money to her for lunch and gas at random times. For the last 4 months, I've paid our very expensive home loan on my own. It was set up to be 50-50. Despite her owning 70K a year and my last financial year being literally 11,000, with this year being a little bit better, I am covering literally every cost. She knows I get sad when she makes big purchases, and her common response seems to be, well, your money is my money, and my money is your money. But the invisible elephant in the room is the fact that when she did have money, I never once touched it. Now that she has spent everything, it's like it's become this communal attitude towards our finances. I feel that this attitude is basically a way for her to be very financially irresponsible and not have any regard for the fact that I am self employed and stressing myself out trying to make money for both of us, despite her making more than me. I struggle with communication and I really want to get these thoughts across without appearing as a money pinching, selfish person. I'll be honest, it's hard to see a future with someone who is currently working full time and still cannot provide equally. Imagine if she leaves work to have children, etc. We will hit zero very quickly. How do I talk about this in a healthy way? It's making me feel used, not appreciated, and a bit of a wallet on legs. I'll let you give your unbiased thoughts before I say anything.
How long have they been together?
4 years.
And they bought a house together?
Yes.
Jesus.
Well, they have a loan on it, but yes, they've bought it.
So they have, yeah, right. They have a mortgage. Okay. So, listen, if I made 11,000 a year, I would be penny pinching. I would pinch every single penny. So I don't know why he said why he's worried about looking like a penny pincher. You need to pinch pennies. You need to stretch that penny as far as it'll go. That's number one, sir. But number two, that entire relationship dynamic and the way that it's been, I don't know if it was set out and established to be something to be different than it is now. But that's not sustainable. It's not just sustainable for a meaningful relationship. It's not fiscally, economically sustainable at all. Not just for her, but not just for him, sorry, but also for her. It sounds like she's a little bit of an impulsive spender. I'm not, there's not a diagnosis, but she sounds like she spends maybe impulsively and she lives beyond her means. He wants to know how to talk to her about it, and I feel like the way that he articulated, and well, I guess the way that he expressed it, I think that it was respectful. I think that it was insightful. I think that it was concise. I think it was clear, and I think that sometimes people who struggle with communication, verbal communication, I think that they can sometimes work around it by writing. Like I knew someone who was really bad with conflict and really bad with communication, but they were able to write out how they were feeling, and kind of start a dialogue there. But she's a problem, and she is going to, if you add a kid to this equation, they're going to end up in the shelters that I work in.
So really quickly, because some people were asking, he made we don't know his full salary, but he said last year he made 11,000 for the entire year, in Australian dollars. In United States dollars, that is $7,300, 7,311 and 54 cents. So about
7,300.
Yes, about $7,000.
Not only would I be pinching pennies, I would be robbing. Listen, wait,
a year.
What?
A year, he said. Yeah, I'm not worried about.
I'm sorry, but was that just a bad year? That's not a baseline. That was just a bad year, right?
We don't know. That's the only thing we have to go off of. So it's going to have to be our baseline until we know more information.
So I don't think she's financially abusing him. I think financial abuse, I'm pretty sure if there was like a legal leg to stand on, he would have to be giving her all of his money, and she would have to be the one that then delegates and decides where the money goes. That would be an example of financial abuse. I think she's selfish. I think she's fiscally impulsive. And I think that they need to go to counseling. I think that's if he can't sit down and have a conversation with her. First of all, I don't understand even being in a relationship and not being able to have open and honest conversations with your significant other. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But if you ever get to that point in your relationship, it's probably time to seek help, and it's probably time to seek some type of intervention, because finances, I don't know if it's the number one cause. It might be the number one cause for divorce. The last time I looked, it was. It could have changed in the last 5 years. But finances are important. It's important to have finances, but it's also important for finances to be distributed responsibly. And she sounds irresponsible, and that's a problem.
So I feel like he is living out of his means. I don't understand the logistics. When I say living, dating out of his means. So when she's making 70,000 and he's making 11,000, I don't understand. There was a part in there where he was like, it used to be 50-50, but I've been paying all of the rent every month. But this is less than 1,000 a month. So I'm like, okay, how much is the rent? Are y'all living in a home that's like appropriate for your budget? Did you only get the home because she got a $200,000 settlement? It just feels like he's living out of his means. I would give some grace because he said she blew through the 200,000, the rest of it after.
What?
Yeah, he said, okay, let me read it again. This one.
Oh my God.
A few years into the relationship, she came into approximately $200,000 Australian through a court case after putting $25,000 each into a home deposit and $7,000 each into a car. So apparently this is something he contributed equally to. She has burnt through all of the savings and is $9,000 in credit card debt. So she blew through it, but also accrued a little debt. She accrued less debt than his annual salary, though.
That was mean. What if he's listening? That was mean. But I'm sorry, how much did she win? I mean, how much money did she get in the settlement?
200,000. I think she spent around 32 to 35,000 on a house and car. The rest of the 70,000 was, I guess. It's
gone?
He says she blew through it on frivolous things and random spending.
Okay. Change of thought. Intervention. This girl, maybe she's a coke freak. Maybe she is a heroin addict. What do you listen? This is a problem. This is a huge problem. And I think that I feel bad for him because it didn't start out that way. So it's not even to say that, this is a matter of not having foresight, because for the most part, people don't change. When you're courting someone and the initial stages, and when you're dating, we want to put out our best selves, right? Like we want to put our best foot forward. But generally speaking, we are who we are. Okay. So I think the fact that she contributed, and they were equally contributing to essentially the foundation of their relationship, which is the home and the car. I think that kind of set him up for failure in a way, or I think that's a little a bait and switch, because now he's dealing with a completely different, not personality, but he's dealing with a different set of circumstances. So yeah, I would say that this is he's if he can't talk to her and he doesn't want to write an email or something, they need to be in therapy stat. But I also do believe that independent of her, because 70,000 is not that much. Like that's like the baseline for social works in Ontario, and then it goes up when you have the more accredited you are. But independent of her, he's living below, not just below the poverty line, he's living below the equator line. He's making 11,000. Sorry, what? He is gonna have to look into he's gonna have to look into tapping into other resources or finding more work. That's like you need to do something, because independent of her, if she wasn't there, I guess he'd be living with his parents. But independent of her, he has to make more to live. That baseline is like, I'm pretty sure people in my shelter at least get more alone from government subsidy.
So we had someone who wanted to speak. Welcome, Oralist. Before you do,
Hi.
I don't understand why you don't just, I can't afford this, when it comes to like the home loan, or when it comes to she's asking you to get big purchases or food or whatever. I don't understand why you don't just say, I can't afford this, so no. Or since she said your money is my money, even though it doesn't look like they're married according to anything here. So
You said they were
no.
married.
Mm-mm.
So they're not married?
It doesn't say whether they are or are not. He just says it's his partner.
I say, okay.
So maybe they are married. If they're not,
Yeah.
your money is not her money and hers is not yours. But if that's the sentiment that
yeah.
she's giving you, then I don't understand. How do relationships like this work? Do you not have a joint bank account for like bills and major stuff, and then like your own separate accounts? Or do y'all have just one account for everybody? Or do you need to ask her do you feel upset about asking her to borrow money because you don't have look, 73,000 a year, not a month. He didn't say a month, a year. US 7,300. I don't understand why you aren't asking for all the help you can get. But Oralist, you had something to say, and then LB.
Yes. I had two things to say. And first off, hi, thank you for having me. So I don't know, like I'm working on trying to figure some things out with my own ideologies, but I really have an issue with biracial women, particularly biracial women that are unambiguously Black, claiming to be Black. I do, just because it seems like it's a choice, and it's something that obviously is not awarded to people who actually present as Black, live, like go through the world as being a Black person, a Black woman. So I have, maybe it needs to be like a bigger conversation. But yeah, that was my issue with particularly how you chose to identify, and almost like a reluctancy to identify as either a biracial woman, mixed race white woman, or even white. Like you just went to being like straight up Black. You don't present as Black to me. I did not know you were biracial, to be quite honest with you. At best, I thought you maybe was a mixed race white woman that self-proclaimed herself as an ally. Yeah, I'm talking about you.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, go on.
So like, it's that, I guess that's really me. And I feel like Black people, honestly, especially Black women, because I don't feel that it's as bad when it comes to biracial Black men, or they tend to identify as biracial, and maybe that's advantage to them, why they don't tend to associate themselves with being just simply Black. But I find it to be kind of like prevalent with mixed race women to choose to be Black.
So to clarify, you believe that having one Black parent and one mixed parent makes you mixed, not Black?
Yes, it makes
but there's
you
a
mixed.
difference between biracial and mixed. I think that there's a delineation. I think there's a line of gradation.
At the end of the day, to be honest with you, and this is not to be dismissive, you're not Black. I don't want to hear. I don't
This
hear
is not to
the
be dismissive to you, but you're not the you're not the arbiter of my race or my identity.
No.
No offense to you.
Like you said, you can choose to identify how you wish, but I think that's a huge problem. And I respect your agency to choose that. But this is my thing. I feel like we don't gatekeep in the Black community. I feel like anyone could identify as being Black. If we go by, I see in one way it seemed like, okay, no, I'm this because of that. And then you were like, well, I choose to identify how I want to choose. To me, you just went straight into gaslighting, and you kind of undermine what a lot of experiences that Black women go through that don't look like you, that don't present out in the world like you.
I'm sorry, what did I undermine, and how did I undermine it?
You undermined it when you were like, well, I can choose to identify how I want to be, because Petty kind of pushed back on you, like, well, I understand you chose, like, pretty much when you say, I understand you're choosing to be Black, but why would you choose to be Black as
Can I be
opposed?
clear? Let me be very clear. People, humans, in general, can, will, and do choose to identify however they choose to identify. That you don't agree with it is inconsequential. You understand that, right?
No, let me tell you something, okay?
But do you understand the objective reality
Can I
of
say
that?
something about the
If you don't
topic?
understand that, then
like,
I'm not going to
you just gave the floor to me, and then you.
I muted everyone. I'm going to try to, you're on mute. I'm going to try to hold everyone to a respectable standard here, and hopefully we can all hear each other. I'm gonna leave it to Anna.
Stop.
Can I
Stop.
ask?
Don't do that again.
I'm
not
trying
going to engage in a conversation with her. First of all, number one, we fundamentally agree on the principle of identity, and she's disrespectful. If you're going to disrespect the program,
No, okay. I'm gonna let you
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't deal in disrespect, and if I unload the clip, it's going to be a problem. And I told myself that today is going to be a good day.
You're only going to be disrespecting yourself. That's the only thing. You're only going to be disrespecting yourself, because I was telling you honestly my opinion, and you were the one that was interjecting and interrupting me. My thing is, like, show me some respect that you would want to receive.
Can you have
no, let me speak, because honestly, I had the floor until you constantly was interrupting me. Like, you have an issue with people that oppose your opinion. Like, that's nothing new. That was
mute her, please?
Someone that's intelligent.
This is our show. I'm not sure why you're letting this girl like run rant. Like, you need to. You need to.
I can't hear.
Thank you.
I can't hear.
No. It doesn't matter, because I'm not engaging her. That's number one. Number two, if she's coming up here and she's disrespecting the program, whenever people come up here, I'm pleasant, I'm kind, I'm jovial. I don't have any issues unless you're a bandit. I'm not going to be disrespected by anyone. I don't care if you're 100% Black, 50% Black, 25% Black. I don't care what you are. I don't care. You're not going to come up here and disrespect the program, period. So I'm not engaging her. I'm done. I'm done. We can move on to LB. She doesn't need to be up here. This is not a meaningful discourse to me.
Well, we can move on to LB. Oralist Anna said she doesn't want to talk, but if you would like to ask me questions after LB is done, I
think honestly, maybe this needs to be a conversation outside with Themis, because honestly, to be real with you, you are disrespectful, honey. You are. My whole thing is, like, people give the floor to you, and I know I listen to you. And my whole thing, but you don't give people the same respect in return. I didn't say anything that was disrespectful to you. I was speaking to a very clear statement that you made on here, and then I was pointing out when you asked me specifically. I was pointing out those examples.
I'm not splitting hairs with you over whether or not you were disrespectful or you were disrespectful.
No, you felt I was disrespectful. I was not disrespectful.
And like I said. When bandits come up here and I get going, I know what disrespect looks like. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. You came up here, you were tight, and you were disrespectful. I don't want any static. If you want static, make sure that you package it in the form of a meaningful conversation. Don't come up here and try to unload the clip.
She left. I didn't remove her, by the way. But if she would like
real quick. Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, I forget this podcast. This ain't the regular show, because I was going to say as a moderator, but this is y'all's show. I just wanted to say to the oralist, and then I'm going to get back on topic, because that's what I actually came for. I actually listened to instructions this time, and I was prepared. I had notes and things. I know. But to the oralist, I understand your point of view. I have brought it up myself before. I don't think that we have the right to tell people how to identify, but we also don't have to include them in spaces that we don't believe that they're part of, if that's what we choose to do, right? Now, the way you came up here was absolutely disrespectful, and I'm speaking up because it's disrespectful to my friend's show. And that's not what was asked of us when we were invited to come to this floor. We were here to talk about the topic at hand, not to talk about how Annalicia identifies. And earlier in the show, she acknowledged that people may not agree and that could be a conversation for another time. And I'm speaking for the show. I'm not speaking for Annalicia. She can speak for herself. I'm speaking for the show because I found that to be really disrespectful. She essentially said that yes, we can get into this, but it is not the time or place. It was not the time or place, and you were out of hand. And honestly, I'm glad that I wasn't the moderator, because I would have dropped you off as soon as you started talking. And I would have said all that to your face, but fortunately, you're not here.
So to comment on that,
and to be clear, I don't have a problem having these conversations. But don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Don't act like you're coming up here looking for meaningful discourse, looking to posit your ideas, your perspectives in a respectful manner, and then you want to try to unload the clip and then tell me, no disrespect. Like, I would rather you just punch me in the face and then keep it moving and then get into the meaningful and respectful, engaging conversation that you're looking to have. But if you're not looking to have that, because that's not what you did. Like, we do what we want to do at the end of the day. If you were looking to have that conversation, I don't have a problem having that conversation. I'm not going to be the spokesperson for people who have a biracial parent and a Black parent. I don't care. Like, I don't care. But what I will say, I have my opinions, my insights, my perspectives. I understand myself, my identity, and the ways in which I was socialized, my culture, my familial dynamics and backgrounds. I overstand. I'm plugged in. I'm good. I don't have a problem. But don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Try to punch me in my face and then get it over with. Like, it's enough. Let's move on.
So to be fair to her, the panel was open. Well, it is open still, but it was open for anyone to come up and comment on anything throughout the live stream. But it was a little jarring to go from
a specific question.
And somebody did say it in the chat. One of my sisters, on my dad's side, she's lighter than me. She might my color or lighter, and both of her parents are Black. And when I say Black, one of them is blue Black. So you have to imagine that genes are genes. Genes are going to gene. Genetics are going to genetic. Chromosomes are going to chromosome, and that's it. So I really, like, I don't care. It's not that kind of party for me. But let's move on.
Yeah. So to be fair, I am interested. I am interested in the topic. My question would have been, I guess, are we policing people based on their phenotype? Because there are Black people who might look phenotypically ambiguous, right? Who might pass for other races, or who might pass for biracial or mixed race, right? And then there are going to be biracial people who pass as Black. So is it more about what you are racialized as by society? Is it more about what you identify with yourself? Is it about we went to parents? I guess what's going to be the cutoff? Because I would have thought having a biracial parent and a Black parent, I would have thought there is more flexibility there than, for example, having a white and Black parent. So that's news to me as far as a biracial and Black parent.
I haven't heard it myself either. And I think that people also have to take into consideration, when you have a white parent, you're probably more exposed to white people more intimately and more intricately, culturally, socially. There's a level of socialization. There's an exposure that is going to contribute to your identity. There's no really way to avoid that. In my particular situation, my mom was born and raised in the foster care system in the 60s. So her parents died by the time she aged out, actually her parents died, right? So she'd never met the white part of her family. She'd never met her mom. She'd never met uncles or aunts, so that part of her identity is she doesn't have any experience with it. The only experience and the only way that she can resonate with it is through the fact that she's biracial. So, but growing up, we didn't have white family that we could identify with culturally, socially, that we got close to. It was my 6 siblings and I who look like LB and Petty. It was us. It was our ecosystem.
Wait, y'all think I'm Black?
Whatever. We have I think that growing up,
it's Ugandan. What? It's Ugandan?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know. I don't know, because I think the conversation is interesting, but I think people have to take into consideration, like, it's more nuanced I know it's people say, well, it's black and white. It's not really black and white. Like, yeah, growing up 6 siblings, I was the lightest, yeah. But your siblings and you guys kind of share a collective identity, right? Like you share that same ecosystem growing up. And you guys share that identity. That's part of what bonds you. That's part of what makes you close. That's part of what distinguishes you.
Do y'all want to table the discussion, or do y'all want to discuss?
Yeah, I feel like we're in it.
I'm just gonna finish I'm gonna finish this thought, and then I'm gonna keep it moving. But I think that we have a collective identity with our family, and then we have our own independent identity outside of our family. And the way that I was socialized, and the way that I grew up and I was raised, there was no racial distinction between me. Because imagine saying to me, okay, Annalise, you're biracial, but Petty, you're black. It's like it wouldn't work. It doesn't work.
Okay.
But yeah, let's keep it moving.
We can table it. I did receive a question about whether or not the panda would be considered black, white, or biracial. I'm not going to answer that since we've tabled the discussion. But you guys should definitely complain
before we move on. Oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You have 15 seconds. You better get it out if it's on that topic.
So pretty much, what I was gonna say, two things. One, to the comments, I said I was here to defend my friend's channel and that Anna could speak for herself, and I meant that. And by friend, I meant Themis and sometimes Petty. But no offense to Anna, I just don't know her like that. If you guys misunderstood that. And then second, with the whole like race thing, the argument that the girl or the woman that was on here before said, it doesn't make sense because according to her logic, I'm not black either. So like, to me, it would be more based off of phenotype than actual racial makeup, if that's what we're doing, like for creating community.
Right. So in other words,
how you get treated in the world.
So that's what I'm saying. You kind of have to establish a set of qualifiers and quantifiers. And outside of that, you can't get up here and stomp your feet and try to tell somebody who's who and what's what. Slap yourself. You can't do that. That you're not the arbiter of that, and you can't qualify or quantify it in any meaningful way. And if you do want to do it that way, then you're gonna have to look at the Black community as a whole, and you have to look at the diaspora as a whole, and you're gonna have to consider how multiracial they also are, because they're I don't know what to tell you guys, but colonization that changed the gene pool entirely.
Orla says, don't get it twisted, I'm still here. Honestly, you're disrespectful and try to steamroll individuals that don't share your ideology. You need to check yourself before someone else. I'm going to respond to that by saying, I didn't kick Orlis off, by the way. I think she might have dropped off due to
I was like, where'd she go?
And nobody needs to, listen,
she might have,
you're not going to be.
Well, she might have dropped off due to connection, but the link was still in the comments. So, well, I guess we've tabled the conversation, but what everyone should definitely do after this video post is go to the comments and start saying some stuff. So Themis has to do a video on biracialness, and then we can force him to do that, and we can come back and fight. Yeah.
People keep, listen, I love the way that people keep on saying, oh, Anna, you do talk over people. Petty and I have been having a back and forth. We've been talking the entire time, and it's been fine. Albie has been up here. She said what she had to say, and it's been fine. So pick and choose, okay? When I cut people off, I absolutely know that I cut people off. But when I'm actually having a good discourse and I'm not cutting people off, at least intentionally, it's enough. It's enough. Slap yourself right on out if that's the problem.
Okay, so we're all in agreement that we should bully Themis into covering this topic.
Yes, no, we're all in agreement that we need to keep it moving. Let's keep it moving.
Okay. So for Petty, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. I thought we came up to talk about the article that you were talking about. I swear you asked a specific question, but
yeah, the Reddit. It's the Reddit.
Yeah. So about that whole situation, I am with the lady on that one, the guy is a hot mess. Like, you're making 11K anywhere in the world. I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not gonna say anywhere in the world because there are some currencies that I'm not familiar with, but you're making 11K in US or AU. Something's not right. You're not working full time. And a year ago, assumingly this guy had enough money to put down, like, I don't know, what was it, like 32K? So he had 32K of spare money a year ago, but now he's making 11K. Did he stop working? Like, is he working part-time? And then all the rest of the story comes from this guy who's clearly lying about something. So, like, are we taking our information from uncredible sources?
Well, so we kind of have to assume that he's posting that in good faith. We kind of have to assume the information he's giving is accurate. But you said that he was making 32,000 before. That's at least over here, that's still, like, you're still living in poverty.
No, I'm not saying he made 32,000 last year. I'm saying last year he had a spare 32,000 to put down on some things.
Yeah, he put a $25,000 payment and up $7,000.
Assumingly, he would have made more than 32,000 a year for the past couple of years, because who on an 11K salary can put up $32,000?
That's why I'm trying to figure out whether or not this was just a bad year.
He said he didn't say he owns his own business. To clarify, he said he's a self-employed artist. That's all we know.
Okay. Well, so
he's making big commissions and then nothing.
Well, he said last year he made 11,000, and this year is a bit better. A bit.
Is a bit better?
A bit better.
Oh my God! Listen, I think that now on her end, she probably has to understand that there is a degree of, like, economic precariousness that's sort of like you charge it to the game, right? If we're talking about artists or people who are self-employed, like, if you're at the mercy of any of the economy, if you're at the mercy of things that you really can't control, there's going to be some precariousness in how much money you make. So I think that her recognizing that, or maybe she doesn't recognize that, but I think that that's a problem. That's a problem. 11,000 is, like, if I was her, listen, that's too much precariousness for me personally.
That's like a work-study college student salary.
So
I made more than that when I was in university.
Yeah, I did too. I was being generous.
But she's being very charitable. But I think that you could potentially make more than that in high school if you have a lookalike side job. No.
Yeah, because I mean, in high school, I got paid, like, I don't know, like $1,200 to babysit for the month, and if that was by 12, I'm making a $24,000 salary as a 15-year-old, and as a grown man, you're making 11.
And that's what I'm saying. Independent of her, you couldn't. How could you live independent of her? Even if she isn't spending her money, because it sounds like for the most part she's spending her money, and 70K is not. I mean, that's still not that much. Well, it is actually. That is, depending on who you ask. But she's spending her money, but she's also spending his money, and by not paying half of the bills. So that's like, how would he live? How would he live?
Is she spending his money though?
If she's not paying if she's not contributing financially, it's coming out of his pocket. So even sort of indirectly, she's kind of spending his money.
Savings he didn't mention.
What do you guys say?
If he had it, he would mention it. How could he have savings? That's my question. How?
What do you guys say about he says they're going 50-50, but what I've heard from relationships like this is that you should divvy up bills proportionate to each person's income. So in this case, they're making like a combined 80K. She'd be paying
80K between two people? Oh my God.
70K is her. So she would be paying like 90% of the bills and he would be paying 10% of stuff. What say you about a dynamic like that?
I'm strongly against that.
Even if it's reversed and it's the man who's making.
I think the proportional thing to make it fair doesn't make sense.
What do you
now?
mean?
I promise you, if I ever made any kind of compromise, which I probably wouldn't, say I'm making, I don't know, say I'm making 80K and my partner's making 20K, and he says, oh, like, let's do percentages. Never. Like, how about if you want to be with me? Sure, whatever. Let's both put in, what can you afford at 20K? I take 3% or 33% of your salary, and then you would put up 33% of your salary. I'd match it, and let's see what we could do together. If we can't live the way you want to live, then you need to find somebody else, because what I'm not doing is giving my money because you didn't make any.
The one thing that I will say is that paying proportion to your income in a lot of situations, it does make sense, right? So if you have ever been through like mediation, or if you've ever had like a custodial dispute, the way that they establish child support payments, it's proportion to income. So if the dad is making substantially more, he's going to pay substantially more child support, right? Just so
in that context,
yeah,
I can understand because it's
yeah.
Oh, sorry. But in that context, I can understand because it's either in the, like, if it's a custody case, it's in the best interest of the child. If it's a divorce, it's spousal support in a way because that person has made sacrifices to be in the relationship or whatever. But like when we're talking about people who are fresh to a relationship, no kids, no marriage, because I'm assuming he's not married because I feel like he would have said that too. But no kids, no marriage, the proportionality thing doesn't make sense because like we're not protecting a child and we're not protecting a disenfranchised ex-spouse or whatever.
I don't know. It doesn't seem right to me, but I think it's normal. Like I would expect a guy who's making like 100K and he has a wife who's like part-time, maybe doing waitressing, making 20K. I would expect him to be paying the majority of the bills if he's splitting bills. But I would
That's different.
How's that the same? You would divide up the bill
let's
proportionally
use
to how much
easy
income.
numbers. The guy's making $100, you're making $1,000, right? You guys both put in 10%. You put in 100, he puts in 10. Is that fair? Is that right? What can you do with $110?
Wait, hold on. What?
I know I'm using small numbers because it's just easier.
No, I know. But so let's like fabricate or manufacture an actual scenario. So it's Petty and I, let's say.
Are y'all married?
No. So this is a hypothetical. How much does Petty make? How much do I make? And then how? I'm just trying to understand what you're saying.
Okay, say you make 100,000. Petty makes 10,000.
Why? Okay.
Petty.
Sorry, Petty makes 100.
You just make 10,000 in this situation.
I'm a janitor too, by the way, so easily 6 figures.
Petty makes 100,000 and I make 10.
No, opposite. No, Petty makes 10. You make 100. So Petty puts in what? $1,000 and you put in $10,000. From that, you can go get an apartment, right? And then deduct, I don't know, like say like your living expenses. I'm gonna say like 5,000 for like housing, apartment, parking, whatever. And then you have like an extra 5 left over for like household fund, whatever. Cool. You guys both put in a percentage. Why would you, somebody who makes $100,000, start living a $10,000 lifestyle when you could be living like a $30,000 lifestyle if you were responsible and using like 30% of your income for living?
Petty.
Wouldn't that only be if you're not doing, if you're only going 50-50, that would be you doing that. But if you're doing the proportional thing, you have a combined what, 110?
You're doing proportion of the total, and my understanding was that you were saying proportion of each person's income gets put
like
in.
our rent is $5,000 a month, and I make 100,000. You make 10,000, so I pay like 4,000.
No, you make 10,000. She makes 100. You're a dusty.
So I pay 1,000 of the rent, and she pays 4,000 because that would be proportional to our income. Not like we move to a poor neighborhood that I can afford. And she moves there too because I can't afford to go half with her on an expensive apartment. That would, the latter I would call 50-50. The other one I would call like
You actually confused me, Petty. I don't know if I just like zoned out because you were talking. Or...
Let's refresh after I read the chat. Stacy, imagine you are going 50-50, but one partner uses more electricity, eats more, takes longer warm showers. This 50-50 is getting petty. Wait, this feels like What if I say I only use the bedroom? I don't use the living room a lot. It feels like I'm drawing the taking a marker and drawing the red line around the spot.
But no, because the reality is nothing is 50-50. That's the reality. That's the reality of relationships. That's the reality of sharing financial responsibility. Like nothing is really 50-50 in the end.
Okay. So I'm going to thank you for the super chat, by the way. Stacy.
Wait, but so your position is you believe that bills should be paid equitably, and LB believes that bills should be paid not 50-50, right, LB?
It's not 50-50. Well, it's a form of 50-50. It's like 50-50 based off of the lowest earner's income, which is why I wouldn't date somebody who makes significantly lower than me, because it and I wouldn't want somebody who makes significantly more than me. Like if you're making triple my income, I don't expect you to now live my lifestyle. Either you're gonna be my provider and we're gonna live a better lifestyle, you're gonna downgrade slightly, or which no, it's not fair, but some guys want to do it. Cool, whatever. Some girls want to do it. Cool, whatever. I'm not going to fight you if you want to take care of me, but I'm not doing it the opposite way around, because it's to me, it's not a good deal for you. Like, why would you work to have a comfortable life by your standards and then downgrade it to help support somebody else who couldn't make the lifestyle that you had for yourself?
So I think that, first of all, she's right, Penny. And I think that generally speaking, and statistically speaking, the relationships that have the legs to go the distance, the marriages that last the longest, are the relationships in which there are more commonalities, a relationship in which they are on more economic common ground. So in the example or the instance of the Redditor, unfortunately, they're not on equal footing financially. So the reality is that statistically, the odds are against them. But emotionally and psychologically, it's going to put a strain on the relationship no matter how you cut the cake. So I mean, if they really want to be together, which unless he starts earning more, and again, I don't know the precariousness of his financial situations. I know artists can make a lot of money one year or for one event or for one painting and then kind of be ass out the next year or the next month. There's a lot of precariousness that can sometimes come with being self-employed or being an artist more specifically. So they need to go to therapy. That's number one. Yeah. But number two, if he is looking to stay with this person, it sounds like she has caviar dreams, and there's nothing wrong with it, because 70,000 that's a decent amount of money. Like 70,000, she can do her thing independent of him. If she likes the credit card debt, I love it. But he is going to have to look into earning more money and acquiring more resources. But they need to be in therapy, because statistically, it's not going to work. And objectively, it just does not work. If you want to maintain a good and high quality of life, you have to make money. That's the way the world works. We didn't create capitalism. It was here, and we're just living in it.
Now, one thing I will say, though, is that I feel like when you reach a certain income bracket, there's other things that come into play other than just the financial aspect of it. And by financial, I'm including if say one of the partners decides to stay home and you don't have to pay for a caretaker, that's includedness of the financial. But when you get to a certain income bracket, you're also talking about social capital and investments and things like that, that brings you into a whole nother ballpark. So for instance, say I had a husband, he's a top earning attorney in New York or something, and he's making $1 million. Not literally $1 million. I don't know how much these people make. I'm not rich, but they're making top dollar, right? And then I'm I don't know, a US senator. I'm not making what he's making, but I have social capital. That type of thing would kind of balance out in those higher echelon situations, but we're talking about like regular people. And so to me, if you're under 100,000, you should try to like, and if you're under 100,000, I think you should try to stay within like probably like a $10,000 to $20,000 range with your partner. When you get over 100,000 to under like 300,000, I think you can do like 50,000 increments, because I don't think it's going to make a major difference at that point. But when you're over 500,000 a year, like I feel like at that point, both of you can afford to be comfortable, regardless.
And also, and when you're past a certain income threshold, you can also be not more frivolous, but you can you don't have to be as choosy, right? Like if we're talking about the top 1% earners, they can afford to be with a woman who doesn't work. They could afford for her to sit home and look pretty all day, or knock her up and get a caretaker, get a nanny, get a maid, and still live within their means. But if we're talking about the average person who is beholden to the economy and to capitalism, then we're talking, and inflation and everything like that, then we're talking about a person who has to compromise between dating within your economic and socio strata, or dating completely outside of that, incongruent to that, and making sure that you pinch and stretch every penny and shop at the Dollar Tree. Nothing's wrong with the Dollar Tree, but there's a difference between shopping at the Dollar Tree when you have money and you're just looking to save, and shopping at the Dollar Tree because you have to in order to live. Like there's a difference. But I think you have to pick and compromise. You have to pick and choose. That's the reality. Sucks, but it makes perfect sense to me. Like, date people who are like you and you'll be okay, I think generally is the consensus. But when you're 11,000, like,
okay, so y'all don't think people should date out of their income bracket?
No, it doesn't make pragmatic sense to me in the long run. It doesn't.
I guess we can close out with super chats, and then LB can.
Wait, does LB? What do you think? Well, LB already articulated it. She said after a certain amount, it doesn't matter, but before the threshold, you kind of have to stay within like the 10 or 20, right? LB range.
Yeah, I would say 10 to 20, and then when you get over, what did I say, 2 to 3, like 50,000 range, like 50,000 range maybe. Because like for someone who's making 300,000, 50,000 isn't going to be like end all be all. I don't think. Like if say you have somebody who makes 250 and somebody who makes 3, it's not like end all be all.
Right.
But if you have somebody who makes 80 and somebody who makes 100, that's a major difference in California. 80,000, you're living, but you're barely living. And 100, you're like finally getting comfortable.
And it's the same thing in Toronto. 100,000 is not 100,000. You're just living. Even 300,000 in some parts of the city, like in New York, 300,000, 500,000. Like you're not balling out of control, right? So you have to be cognizant and mindful of the person that you're going to integrate your life and finances with. Like it doesn't make sense. It does not make any sense.
I'm sure like a mathematician could probably come up with like a percentage that works on different income levels, but I don't have time for that today. But Petty asked a question to you, and I don't remember what the question was, but I had to answer. Do you remember your last question, Petty?
Nope. I'm gonna go through these super chats really quickly.
Wait, but I know what I said to you before the show, but I want to hear what her answer is.
She doesn't know.
I don't remember the question.
Petty, I know if you think about it, you know the question.
The question is, does it give you the ick when someone shops at Walmart instead of Target?
That was not the question.
That's the question now.
You're distracting me. I'm still gonna come back to it. Walmart, Target, ick. Why did they shop at Walmart?
Why? See, there you go. Because I got the ick. I don't need to know why.
What do you mean? Like, okay, so I actually have an unhealthy relationship with Walmart. I I don't go there like of course like it's more affordable or whatever, but it's like barely a difference between like Walmart and Target in
That's
price.
what they say.
Like I feel like
That's
there's
what they
barely
do.
a price
That's
difference between them.
That's what they be
No,
saying.
they're
Just go in one ear and out the other.
My roommate's dog stealing my scarf. Okay.
Wait, Albie,
but
you're saying that you don't like Walmart because it's only marginally less expensive, right?
no, my thing is, okay, so Walmart is only marginally less expensive. So to me, it's not like I would rather go to Target for peace of mind. But I do have moments of nostalgia where I go to Walmart at like they're not open till 1 o'clock in the morning anymore. But I used to go like at like 1 o'clock in the morning because it reminded me of college times. And it was a good feeling.
Okay, so she's in it for the nostalgia.
I'm a weirdo. Don't mind me.
And I love that.
And I better not catch y'all at Kroger neither.
We don't have a Target or a Kroger. We have Whole Foods, which that's my thing. I go for quality, not quantity. So if I have to purchase something that I know I'm not like, it's just I'm gonna dispose of, yeah, I'll settle. But if I know it's something that I'm gonna need for a long time, for me, I'll pay the price for good quality every day, twice on Sunday.
Stacy says that relationship is doomed. Sorry, absolutely. And she asked, where did this 50-50 nonsense come from? Y'all advocating for 50-50, by the way. That's you.
Wait,
too.
What do you mean?
Did we?
I posed a situation where you pay proportionate to your income. Y'all proposed dating within your range, and yeah.
But what's the difference?
I mean, technically, if you're dating within your socioeconomic range, right? Obviously, I don't think if you make 50,000, you're not gonna find someone who makes exactly 50,000. So that would be hard. But generally, you're going to be around the same income. So if you decide I want to go 50-50, you're paying 50-50. If you decide we should split proportionate to our income, you're still pretty much going 50-50 because you make the same income. So there will be no difference.
Okay,
so 50-50 doesn't exist. We can agree there's no such thing as 50-50 then, right?
No, we can.
I would say like in terms of input, you could say 50-50. Like I put in 5,000, you put in 5,000.
But in terms of the contribution to the there's nothing's
really
to the household. 50,
no,
to the relationship, the household, the bills. Like it's never really 50-50.
Oh, I thought we were specifically talking about household bills and how to split them, whether or not you're splitting them 50-50 or if you're splitting them as a percentage of your wage.
As a percentage of your income? Albie, you disagree with
that? No, for income, like for finances, you could do 50-50 if you want to. As far as like the real non-tangibles, like emotional support, relationship duties, things like that, I would say no, that's not a real thing. That's weird to even term it or like phrase it that way. Like, let's go 50-50 on emotional support. Like, no, like we need 100-100. What are you?
Wait, what's
and even
100?
If you do say that, you know that you're gonna get the short end of the stick, literally. Because
no, I just feel like 100 plus 100 is 200, and out of that, you're both paying 50% of it. So it feels like just a less simplified way of saying 50-50.
No, what I'm saying is full effort from both people in a relationship, not half effort because they can make up the other half.
Does 50
it's kind of like
I feel like y'all are ascribing. Remember in the beginning of the conversation when you said what Killer Mike said wasn't inherently wrong, you guys are just putting your own bias on it. When people say I'm going 50-50, are they talking about I'm only going to put in half the effort into the relationship? Now, okay, half the effort into the relationship, I agree with, because the effort from the relationship is from both of you, right? So you can't give their half, can you? No. You can only give your half, which can be all of you.
50-50 is that's a numerical quantification. So it's not the same as Killer Mike saying what he's saying and you extrapolating implicit or explicit
and
bias.
with a numerical quantification, I'm saying I'm giving my half of the relationship, which is all of me, and you're giving your half, which is all of you, and
Like,
that adds up to 100.
Petty,
Hmm?
how did the love song go? I'm all of you to all of me or whatever. It wasn't 50 of you to 50 of me. Like,
So y'all have an issue with
giving
the
all of
language,
you
but what is being
all of me.
said isn't objectively wrong.
Because there's no such
I
thing
feel
as
like
50-50.
the moment you bring numbers,
Yeah.
oh sorry, the moment you
Relationships
bring
don't work
numbers
like that.
into that, it's weird and wrong.
I
in my
mean, if I
opinion.
consider myself equal to my partner, which I generally do, I don't think I'm better than anybody who I've dated or they're better than me. I consider them my equal. So when we come to a relationship that's going to require 100%, both of us are going to have to give all of ourselves, which I can only give my 50%. I can't give for her. She has to give her half, right? So this is how I'm understanding 50-50. So yes, I believe you can say I'm going 50-50 and I'm just giving all of me. They're giving all of them to the relationship.
Petty,
And I'm giving half of myself to you.
Okay, Petty, the way you're describing it is a matter of semantics. Where we usually hear 50-50 is guys that literally mean they're gonna get 50% of
That's what I said.
Not 50% to the relationship. That's not the same thing. Giving 50% to a relationship as a whole would be like giving 100% of yourself. But giving 50% of what you have is a different thing.
It's different, yeah.
Maybe
like,
when I
if
hear
that
people
was the
say,
case, you're like really giving like 25% to the relationship because you're only giving half of yourself when the other
maybe
person's giving all of themselves.
maybe our ears work differently. When I hear 50-50, I hear the latter. I don't think when most people are saying I want a 50-50 relationship, they're saying I want to give half effort and I want my partner to give half effort. We shouldn't fully invest in each other.
Okay, Betty. I remember the question now. Thanks for giving me time.
What was the question? Then I'll go to the super chat and we can end since we're 2 hours in.
So the question that you asked is if somebody was making a certain amount of money, would I just say ill and no to them? I forgot what the number was. Was it 25,000? Or like if they're making outside of that range? That's what you said, right?
Yeah. I said should y'all not date outside of your socioeconomic range?
I don't recommend it.
Your income bracket.
Yeah. So pretty much what I would say is I don't recommend it. I wouldn't do it. If somebody wants to do it, I think they should do so with realistic expectations. So if you date somebody who's making more than or less than 20,000 of your salary range, I would say go into it with realistic expectations insofar as like you would probably have to downgrade your lifestyle a little bit to be able to merge with them. Because like say they make 50, you make 70, that average out to like a $60,000 lifestyle. You went down like 10,000, is that a major difference? No. But say you're making 60 and they're making 20. Now it's averaging out to like what, like a $40,000 lifestyle. That's like a big little dip. I would say don't date. Yeah, I would say don't date with the expectations of maintaining your $60,000 lifestyle if you're dating somebody that makes $11,000. Oh, $70,000 lifestyle if you're dating somebody that makes $11,000.
11,000? Oh my God! Listen, relationships in general will not work. I like maybe barring you live somewhere where your dollar goes a very long way and the cost of living is just like exponentially lower than other places. In that case, it might not be as bad, and you might have more like economic variation in who you could be with. But in reality, if you live in a city, a metropolitan city, if you live anywhere where the cost of living is exorbitantly high, as it is for most people, it's going to, how much money your partner makes is going to matter. And it's not pragmatic. It's not. I think it's frankly, it's fiscally irresponsible to date someone who makes substantially less than you. But if you're willing to make that compromise, because I don't know, like this person has like a magic eggplant or, they just make you feel good. like those feelings are not going to generate like generational wealth. Like you're looking at like 10 or 20 years, you're looking at poverty because you're essentially paying to be with that person. Essentially.
Yeah, you really are when you think of it that way.
Well,
But
in my mind, the
go
research
ahead.
indicate you should probably date people who earn around the same as you because you're more likely to stay together and have a long relationship in a
And
stable
you're
way.
less likely to be on Reddit asking people what you should do because you make 11,000, your girl makes 70,000, and you're broke. Yeah, you're less likely to post on Reddit too. It just doesn't make sense.
With that being said,
wait, Albie was gonna say something, and then we'll do the super chat.
We are 2 hours in, so y'all need to be quick and concise now.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so pretty much it was like the same thing I've been saying, but if you're like say you're earning $1,000 or $100,000 and your partner's making $20,000, not only are you now going to average out to whatever the average is between that, because I don't feel like doing the math right now. I think it's like somewhere around like 50 or 60. I feel like my math is way off right now. Don't listen to me. Anyways, you're downgrading your lifestyle, right? But not only are you downgrading your lifestyle, but your bills, your life, like your car note, your house note, your everything is based off of you making $100,000. Now you got to put an extra, I don't know, maybe like they're at 20. So how do we even this out? You give them maybe like $30,000 towards like evening out the lifestyle to have them with you. Now your bills are still set up on $100,000. You still got to pay them $100,000 bills, but you also got to give $30,000 to your new partner. I hope it's not for some good eggplants.
No eggplants is that good. I don't care about you. I want to live comfortably, and I want to set up a foundation so that my children and their children can live comfortably. And 11 is not going to do it. 20 is not going to do it. 100's not going to do it. So yeah, date people on your level. Or I like the measure that LB used. I think like between 10 and 20, depending on where you live and depending on how much you make. I think that would be a good scale. But and again, obviously, if you're like out here making millions or anything like 800,000 or something, that's still not okay. I don't know. Okay, well, yeah, a million, or if you're living comfortably and you can afford to eat caviar and do your thing, then yeah, why not date the bartender, date the hostess at your local bar, and you'll probably still be okay. But for everybody else, for all of us normies, yeah, be smart, be strategic, be pragmatic, and don't be like that Redditor, because he's dating someone who's not on his level, or I should say she's dating someone that's not on her level, but he's complaining about it because yeah, he's the one that makes substantially less.
Ooh,
like, would this be Sorry, go ahead.
I just thought of Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. I was like, that's a good example of like when you're at a certain tax bracket, do you care anymore? But honestly, with her tax bracket, she should care.
But that's another thing too. But that's true too, because we've heard of cases where women. I know Rihanna's a billionaire, right? She's in that like that. Okay, so how long is she going to be able to maintain her financial status? Let's say they break up, they separate. If they've been cohabitating together, I don't know, every state is different. Here, if you live together for, I think, more than 5 years or 5 years or more, that's recognized as a legal marriage under the law. So he would still have access to her finances and her funds, and potentially getting money for child support, definitely money for child support. So I think that it is advantageous to be smart, even when you are in the upper echelon of economic. Yeah, I think you just have to be smart. I think no matter what, you have to be smart.
Yeah, I would say like Rihanna, like for someone who's born into wealth, it's one thing, but for Rihanna, somebody who like earned their wealth through their lifetime, you're essentially new money and you can lose it just as quick as you got it. So I would be careful about dating somebody who made significantly less than me.
In Rihanna's case, I'm
helping build in the way that I was building. Because Rihanna's like building. ASAP, I don't know what he does.
I don't know what he does. I don't know if he does or how much he makes, but he's a millionaire. Is that true? Okay,
but is it just on music, or does he have investments? Does he have any businesses? Like, I don't know his life. He didn't seem to be about nothing else.
I don't know anything about ASAP. I listened to him when he first came out. I liked maybe 1 or 2 songs, and then I threw in the towel with him. I don't know if he has maybe he's in like the weed business. I don't know what he is. I don't know. I know for him, he knows that he looks good. He's a pretty boy and all of that. I don't know his business acumen or what he's into or how much money he makes, but a billionaire and a millionaire, I think that's light work. If she likes it, I love it. I don't think it's going to be as precarious. But in general, I think if you have money, you have to be smart about who you're with, because if you want to keep your money, part of the way you keep your money is being with someone else who also has money, because if it doesn't work, they're going to take your money.
Yeah. Okay. I promise I'll stop after this. But in the ASAP and Rihanna situation, people are acting like it was like, okay, I'm not going to even throw that person under the bus, but like one of the celebrity R&B women that dated like their like background guy or producer or whatever, that was like a baby producer, not like a real producer that was bringing him money, but like one that was making his name off of her stuff. Anyways, like they're acting like Rihanna was dating a backup, not even a backup dancer, because they probably get paid okay, but not amazing. They act like Rihanna was dating the Uber Eats guy. Like,
yeah.
And I didn't understand that. That was extreme. Yeah. But enough about that, because that's not what this show's about. And I just lectured somebody else about being on topic, so I guess I should be too. Petty?
Petty, you have the patience of Mother Teresa.
You do.
You have the patience of Gandhi.
Nah, he's secretly annoyed. He's gonna cuss us out after. Pray for us. I'm just kidding.
No, you're right. She's right.
Here's the thing. Whenever something like this happens, there's this website called Cool Math Games. I used to play it while I was in middle school.
Yeah, my students play it.
I'll be over here playing Bounce and Block, Islander, Quantum Splitter. They have some cool games that you guys.
You know, Petty, I know you said you don't love me. I love you, but you shouldn't have told us that, because now, if you're okay over there, you know we're liable to just never stop, right?
My bad. What did you say?
LB, we can keep going, LB.
Look, I told y'all to be quick. I said be quick and concise and respect my time. And
Anna and LB show would never end. I would get fired from my job, and I have the type of job where they come find you if you don't show up. So
these are for context.
Really?
These are supposed.
They're gonna come get me. Yeah, I can tell you about that later. But yeah.
These are supposed to be, for context, for people who are watching, 1 to 1.5 hour live streams. We are 2 hours and 11 minutes in. I have missed my Walmart grocery pickup. Actually, let me mute you both so I can speak. I have missed my Walmart grocery pickup time window, and now I will have to make a new order. My eggs and my milk have probably spoiled, and I will be opening. A matter of fact, anyone watching, please, super chats, memberships, anything that you can donate to the channel to help, so that I can make a new Walmart pickup order. It is a minimum of $35. So I will need at least that much. That's all. No one's obligated to donate, though. It would just be nice. PBM Vegetables and Junk Food says most high-income earners are still living paycheck to paycheck. If your spouse is laid off and can't land another good job, then what? Anna, what say you?
If your significant other gets laid off and they can't get another good job,
yeah,
you're screwed.
I guess for people who have a high-income earner and they make, I guess, little to nothing, if anything.
Then I'll see you in one of the beds in one of the shelters that I'm in, that I work in, because you're screwed.
Not one of the shelters.
Yeah, I oversee a lot of them.
Gnome Chump Steiny says, Annalisa is such a good conversationalist. Even when she's wrong. Destiny and her would make a good podcast.
I keep on telling you guys, I'm going to Miami. You're gonna see me and that blue-haired gnome very soon.
Is that where he is?
A real man would never utter the words.
Ooh, Petty said I'm a real man. Petty said I'm a real man. Okay.
Oh, Petty. When I was on mute earlier, I was trying to clown you about shopping at Walmart, and I just wanted to let you know for like $10 more.
Mm-hmm.
For $10 more, Target would have put your stuff in a cooler.
Let me make a clarification here. When I say shop at, what I mean is walking around the store. Making grocery pickups from Walmart, which is across the street from me, is completely okay and not ghetto. It's just going inside and seeing what happens at Walmart, any Walmart. And if you go to Walmart and shop there, you know what I'm talking about. That's the part that gives the ick. Shopping at Target, pickup at Walmart.
I'm going to overshare, and the people in the comments who have been here, have you ever been high on your day off in a Walmart? It's entertaining.
I don't smoke.
Yeah, we don't do the devil's
I don't do that anymore, but I used to, and it was entertaining. That's why I get a kick out of going back to Walmart.
If I did smoke, I probably would go everywhere and do everything. That's probably why my brain just doesn't. My brain, I think, just knows on some level, stay away from it or you're gonna go mad. But I do think it's interesting to me because I actually hate being in stores. Like if I could avoid it, I absolutely would avoid it. I hate being in stores. I hate going shopping. I hate the whole system of it. I literally hate it. If I could avoid it, I will. You will not catch me in Walmart. You will not catch me in any of these stores. The only place that you'll have a hard time getting me out of is IKEA. I can go to IKEA to get a light bulb for, like sometimes they have like the weird light bulbs. I can go to IKEA for a light bulb and come out with and easily spend $1,000. Like easy work. IKEA is my kryptonite. IKEA is my heroin. It's a problem. Everything else, I won't even go in anymore.
I'm gonna be honest. I go there at least twice a month because I have to pass it on my way home.
Oh, don't you love it?
Yeah. And then there's food and the internet. You could like go there and watch a movie, eat like whatever junk they have.
They have everything. IKEA has plants. They have, oh my God, they have everything. IKEA is the best. Shout out to IKEA. And they're not even paying. This is not even like a paid promotion, although they should reach out because I spent a lot of money at IKEA. So
look, yeah. IKEA, if you're listening, I'll even put on my hair and makeup and clothes and things, and I will do promo for you, but it has to be the right price.
I will. I'll start putting all my IKEA. I'll start putting all my IKEA furniture behind me. Because IKEA, I really do love IKEA, and
they have amazing chocolate too. Like they
do.
Yeah, their chocolate's amazing. The hazelnut chocolate.
Oh, and I like their ice cream. Well, it's not. I think it's like it's yogurt, frozen yogurt. I like their frozen yogurt. Okay, Petty, I know you're playing the game, but we can close out. We're just filibustering. You can close out.
Oh, we're interrupting the super chat.
Bounce and block is a logic game. It's like an abstract puzzle game, and you bounce and you hit the block. So anyway, Tree Lily became a member. Welcome to the membership. I screenshot it so that Themis can give you a membership band. Stacy, if a man wants, then he should remain single. Does anyone have a favorite? Oh, I don't know why that's there. Petty J. Rollo Jr. the third Mad Grocery Fund. Thank you. Oh, wait. Oh, these are donations for the grocery fund. Thank you. I didn't realize. Yes, I didn't realize. I love their lingonberry sauce. Okay.
See? Shout out to IKEA.
Rochelle, I see you were in the back. You can comment on anything. I'm going to give you 1 minute. And then LB, I'll give you a further 30 seconds. And then we can close out. Anna.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, Rochelle.
Hello. So I just wanted to make a quick comment and kind of, I guess, throw another scenario into the mix, but I'll make it quick. But
is it just me? Is it just me, or is she muffled? Can you guys understand her? Petty, okay, you're not paying attention. LB, can you understand her? Oh my God. Oh, Rochelle, I can't hear you. You sound muffled to me.
Wait, hold on. Can you hear me better now? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So wait. What is
Ignore
going
Penny.
on? So I just wanted to make a quick scenario about I read this article about how by the year 2030, 300 million jobs will be lost due to AI. And because of that, I guess it just throws this whole scenario out of whack because, I mean, when 300 million plus people are out of work, I feel like we won't be caring about the salary much when none of us can find a job. But also, on top of that, I've also been hearing chatter about implementing UBI, Universal Basic Income. And if that's able to be implemented, I feel like most of us will be able to have like the same amount, like the same salary going through. So I guess it wouldn't be much of a problem if we're like, let's say getting paid, I don't know, 20,000 a year due to like UBI. So I guess that would just throw the whole scenario out of the question in terms of like going 50-50.
For the bottom of the income like tiers, yeah, like for people who are making really low incomes, but if you're still working, you're going to get paid, you're always going to get paid above whatever the base level is. So the base could be 0, it could be 20,000, it could be 100,000. The people that are making the most money will always be making the most money. I think when it comes into the AI thing, I'm like really into future shows and stuff, but it seems like when it gets to that level, people are working more out of like passion, pleasure, or necessity. And like it's not finances that they get, it's more like different social privileges or whatever. Like at that point, like if AI fully took over, the meaning of money and our salaries wouldn't be the same in my mind. And I could be wrong.
But how would that affect the cost of living, do you think?
Well, if AI fully took over and we were able to make like food and housing more efficient, I would think that, and they did put in the universal base income, the base income would probably cover housing. And then like food and all that, like people wouldn't, what would we fight over if everything was more efficient because AI had taken over?
Definitely race.
Like because
Always
the only
race.
real, well, yeah, there's that. But
I was hoping that people in the social service sector, you're in the social service sector, you're in education, right, LB? I'm thinking that you can't.
I'm transitioning out. I do that part-time sometimes still.
But people in education, people in the social service sector, I don't think that, can AI replace them? No, right?
No. But like, so
Not yet.
there would be perks, right? But would the money be necessary? I feel like as long as we have a currency system, there's always going to be haves and have-nots. But if we got rid of a currency system and AI was running all our basic needs, then people would do more passion projects. And I think that even counseling and social work would become more of a passion project if all of our needs were met. And there would be more people willing to do it. Because like I would have been a teacher, but they weren't paying enough for me to live comfortably like the way I was raised to want to live in California. Like there's no way. Unless I like sold out and worked for schools with policies I don't agree with. But that's
come to Toronto. Teachers make a lot of money, LB.
That is a consideration.
I'm telling you,
we're very close to Toronto.
But okay, because people are like, oh, social workers and teachers don't make a lot in the States. I'm like, well, depending on your level of education, you can make good money in Toronto. So like a master's and more, you can make good money.
So what I'm
the moral of the story is that we should get rid of capitalism.
So you think socialism is the answer and would create a more A utopia, basically.
Objection, Your Honor. I
We're
don't
going too deep.
a political debate. I feel like would be.
Yeah, we'll be here all night. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but thank you for coming up here and saying that. Now I'm gonna have nightmares because
Wait, what
now
was
I'm
your
gonna
name
be
again?
thinking of Black Mirror. Now I'm gonna be thinking of social work and child and youth care and all these positions becoming obsolete. So now I'm terrified. But I still love you, Rochelle.
Thank you for having me up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye,
Good
Rochelle. See you
night.
next time.
Bye. Petty, can I still have 30 seconds?
You can have 15.
I want 30. That's what we agreed.
Nope.
Give her 30, and I
said,
and I won't say anything if she
I
gets
said
30.
be quick and concise, and we are 20 minutes later.
I didn't do it. She had an interesting topic. All I wanted to do is say that Rochelle, when we're on Themis' live and we got like 10 bajillion hours, definitely come back and we'll detract and like have a good conversation about that. Or maybe I could talk Themis into doing a show. I don't know. But I think that would be actually really interesting to explore the different political structures. And that's actually my background. So I would love to get into that because there's pros and cons to all of them. And I think that socialism really gets demonized and people don't even know what they're talking about. But I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me rant and stuff.
I hope we'll see you next weekend.
As long as it's not on Sunday, sure.
We'll be here Saturday. I hope that you'll be here on Saturday.
Saturday at 5 p.m.
Look, I didn't even know what day this is. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Everyone watching, make sure to leave a like. Actually, let's have a quick after show before we go. Wait, my screen froze. Did the whole thing play?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, well, it showed my screen froze for me. What did you learn today? Did you learn anything today?
I learned that people are going to people, myself included, and we're not impervious to the human condition. I also learned, well, I've always known you have to date people who are on your socioeconomic level, duh. But I also learned that I'm happy and I feel more adulation for Black women because I think that it's happening incrementally and it's happening kind of slowly but surely. Black women are starting to care less and less about what a bandit thinks in terms of who they decide to transmit their STIs to and who their preference is, if they're dating Becky, Karen, Maria, whoever it is. So that makes me happy. I think when Black women are not invested in Black men and their preferences and their idiocy and degeneracy in general, I think Black women are able to focus on themselves. And I love that. So that's good. What did you learn?
Well, I learned that Black women are waking up. That's what I learned because I definitely wasn't expecting to see what I saw in that comment section with Sauce Walka. Black women were like, mind your business. That has nothing to do with us. Go where you're loved. And I like that. Yes, Themis is actually about to come in about 3 seconds, y'all. Just let me finish going through this last super chat. You do know you don't have to smoke to get high. I'm just saying. And I think that was for you.
How do you get high? Well, I don't do drugs at all. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. Never have, never will. That's not my brain just isn't set up like that.
Okay. With that
but this is not a judgment to people who smoke or people who drink or do, like, it's just my brain literally just physiologically I can't handle anything. Like if I drink 2 beers, I'm loaded. And then I have a hangover the next day. I just physiologically cannot handle it. But if people can dabble and engage and they like it, I love it. But I get high off I get high from engaging with people. Okay, when I go to like a social event and I'm with people that I love and care about, even if I don't know the people there and I get to know them, that for me is like maybe not exactly analogous, but I derive a
Oh
lot
my
of
goodness.
I
I
derive
actually,
pleasure from that for sure.
I unironically hate people like that. I hate people who you're like drinking a glass of wine or smoking if you live in a place where that's legal or not. And then here come Annalicia. Oh, what are you doing there? Putting poison in your body? I get high off of life, buddy. Why don't you go take a hike? That's what gets me high. All right, cool. But
Listen,
people,
that is not true. First of all,
Mhm.
it's legal here. So people, I don't succumb. I've never been someone to succumb to peer pressure. Imagine trying to peer pressure me and the kind of pushback you're going to get. It's just not going to happen. But if somebody engages in it and they like it, it's not a problem. It's just not for me. That's it. It's not for me.
CJ said, is this a new date and time? Yes, every Saturday at 5 p.m. will be Annalisa and I, but theme is
it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Every Saturday, just us two, but Themis is in the back, so I'll add him to the screen now before we head out. What do you have to say?
His part is on the other side. It's on the wrong side.
All right. Well, he's a little quiet, but with that being said, make sure to leave a like if you haven't liked already. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And donate to the Prince Petty New Grocery Fund. At least $35. We've already raised $269. That's such a specific number. Is there significance to that? I'll look into it. But thank you everybody for watching, and have a good evening.
We love you all. Thank you guys for coming.
Do we love them all? All of them?
I love all of them. And I love all of them for being here and engaging with us. Yes, I do. And I love you too. I know you said you don't love me, but actually, no, not you. Actually, that hurt. But I love everybody thank you guys for coming. I love you guys.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone.